finally realized one day Alzheimer's was the enemy, not my mom. I often found myself wondering if instead of complaining all the time, could I replace the bad patterns of behavior that come along with dementia, the kinds of patterns that were driving me crazy, with new, more positive patterns. One of the things I noticed very early on in my caregiving effort for my mother, Dotty, was that she was engaging in very distinct patterns of behavior. Not only was she engaging in a long list of behaviors that were driving me crazy day in and day out, she was often doing them at the same time of the day. This was a real revelation. We even had a very distinct macro pattern of behavior that was occurring every week. On Monday and Tuesday, the days were good. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday can best be described as a slow decline into the abyss. The crazy part happened when my mother would go into her bedroom around 8 p.m. on Saturday night and not come out until 7:09 p.m. on Sunday, plus or minus 2 minutes. That's right. I would sit in the living room on Sunday and wait. If we made it to 7:07 p.m., I would think the same thought every week. She'll be out in the next 4 minutes. It happened every time. Here's the crazy part. On Saturday night, my mother would start refusing to talk to me, go into her bedroom, and nothing I could do or say would get her out. By Sunday, she was madder than a junkyard dog and still wouldn't come out. Finally, when she walked into the living room on Sunday night, she was smiling and happy. She acted like nothing had happened. So, I had a 23-hour stomach ache every Saturday for over 2 years. And then it finally happened. I had my great epiphany on May 7, 2005 at 1 a.m. in the morning. I wrote, something had to change, and that something was me. It dawned on me that if I didn't make some changes, the same thing was going to keep on happening over and over and over. And that's exactly what was happening. Along with these thoughts, I decided that I would systematically figure out how to change all of it, all the bad. It took me about 3 years of trying, but I finally became very good at it. Here's the good news. It won't take you this long because once I figured it out, I started writing about it on the Alzheimer's Reading Room. And along the way, we started receiving tips and advice and solutions from great caregivers from all over the world. You know what I learned and noticed? The best solutions are usually very simple. I want you to think about that. Keep it simple. The hard part, figuring out those simple solutions. I've written another article, and you can get it down in the show notes, entitled 10 Solutions to the Problems Dementia Caregivers Face Each Day. It deals with some of the more common problems. I recommend you look for the link and go over and read it when you have a chance. Over the years, I solved the problems one by one. This is why it took me so long. Amazingly, my list of problems to attack would get longer and longer all the time. Alzheimer's and Alzheimer's behaviors are a never-ending moving target. You know what I'm talking about. As the disease stages, more things start happening. Here's the good news. I figured out how to get my mother to take her medication. I figured out how to get her to take a shower without turning it into World War III. I figured out how to get her to pee on schedule. I figured out how to get her to exercise. I figured out how to get her to go into the pool. Eventually, I figured out how to get her to cooperate, and that made life, caregiving life, a lot better. I'm pretty sure most of you know what I mean. Do you face these types of problems each day, same problems over and over, banging your head against the wall? On May 7, 2005, I stopped complaining and venting and became a problem solver. I developed an attitude over time that I could solve any problem. I had confidence. I had successfully rewired my brain. I also wrote an article about this that you can look for down in the notes. Rewiring My Brain and Stepping into Alzheimer's World is the title. Over time, I turned the burden, the heartache, anger, stress, confusion, and discombobulation into happiness and eventually joy. You can do it too. It is so satisfying, fulfilling when you get on the right track that it's hard to describe. Your miserable life can become wonderful because you start accomplishing things. You start feeling good about yourself. When you start feeling better about yourself, when you start feeling good, your Alzheimer's patient is going to start feeling good right along with you. Watching the look on Dottie's face, her new and better attitude, were joyous for me. No, it was not perfect. Alzheimer's always figures out a way to slap you in the face and make your stomach hurt. The good news, I finally realized Alzheimer was the enemy, not my mom. By now you might be wondering, how did I stop the nasty problem that happened every Saturday night right into Sunday night? How did I stop the 23-hour stomach ache? What did I do? I started taking my mother out for a ride in the car on Saturday night right before this episode normally happened. The ride would result in a stop for ice cream or coffee, somewhere along the way, something like that. Many times we went to a place like McDonald's. It's pretty warm here in Florida for most of the year, so we could often sit outside and talk. Socialization is very important in dementia care. I did not have to keep doing that forever because once the bad pattern is gone, once it disappears, so to speak, it never comes back. Think about that. If there's something that's really bothering you and you can change that pattern of behavior, more likely than not, it is going to go away. As many of you know, once we started living our life, I took Dotty out every Friday night. You might be surprised to learn that even in her 90s, we sometimes went out around 6 p.m. and didn't get home until 11 p.m. I've written about that quite a few times. My mom was once again that self-described, amazing old broad I always knew. You can find additional links to articles that support this podcast in the show notes below or below the article. My name is Bob DeMarco. I am the founder of the Alzheimer's Reading Room. We offer a free subscription service. Right now we have more than 35,000 active readers on our list. You are welcome to join with us. I hope you will. To learn more about my views on changing patterns of behavior, read this article, How to Change Patterns of Behavior in Alzheimer's and Dementia Patients. See you next time.